one day I'll remember. Remember everything that happened. The good, the bad.
The Battle of the Five Armies is the, it's a climax of the first trilogy. So in a sense, it has to serve, the two films that came before it, but it also has to serve the six, that it is part 3 of 6. And that was always very important to us.
Middle-earth seems to be just beginning to rumble and tumble a little bit, and things seem to be changing, perhaps not for the better, and there are forces at work.
The high point of the entire journey for all of the characters, and I think that's sort of what Tolkien intended, that all of these characters that have been explored through movies 1 and 2 come to the battlefield, and they all have their own individual stories to tell.
You'll get adventure, you'll get humour, a lot of humour, but you'll get some very dark, fantastically sort of strong drama as well.
For the fans that know the Lord of the Rings and Pete, I mean, just the excitement of sitting down and just watching those first few credits and the music starting and just realizing you're back in Pete's care will be a very exciting moment, I think.
Home is behind, the world ahead, and there are many paths to tread, through shadow to the edge of night, until the stars are all alight. Mist and shadow, cloud and shade.
Will you have peace or war?
All shall fade.
I will have war. It's a hell of an experience. I mean, it was, I can't imagine my life for the last few years if that hadn't been a part of it. It's a huge part of my life. And I think it will be a huge part of my future, because as long as there are new generations kind of reading Tolkien, watching these movies, that one I know is going to be, it's going to be a big part of, if I should live so long, it's going to be a big part of, the next decades of my life,
I'll go.
Don't be ridiculous. You'll never make it.
Why not?
Because they will see you coming and kill you.
No, they won't. They won't see me.
It's out of the question. I won't allow it.
I'm not asking you to allow it, Gandalf. McKellen was very good at epic acting, but rooting it in reality and rooting it in truth. That there are many people who could play a good Gandalf, but maybe not that many who would make you care about him as much as he does. You know what I mean? And be that and have that vulnerability. But because you've got to be able to unashamedly have a bloody great stick in your hand and go do all that stuff, but actually not just look mental. You actually like something that you care about and something that's human. So all the while you've got to be, and I always thought he was a very good example of walking that tightrope,
I'd seen him on stage and I'd seen him on a lot on television, but not on the big screen, and now he's conquered that. I mean, he's one of the great actors of his generation, no doubt about it, and it was one of the joys of the film to get up close with him.
I am not alone.
Are you in need of assistance, my lady? You should have stayed dead. As an actor playing a part on the screen, it will mean more anything I've ever done. And I've done quite a bit.
We're all dressed up and pretending, and we're creating this world. And that's the wonderful thing about it as well. It is, that's why you do it. You're trying to illuminate another reality, or you're illuminating a kind of internal reality for a particular person or a group of people, and create a whole new world. And in this sense, it's kind of a really fantastical world, which has repercussions for who we are as people, even though they're elves and dwarves and hobbits. You know, there are obvious parallels between the world in which we inhabit and the world in which these characters inhabit.
In terms of what the Dol Guldur set was like, it's genuinely frightening. Because often I think genuine evil is not only terrifying, but it's ugly. And Peter is he's able to invent things that are genuinely ugly and terrifying.
What do you think I'm trying to do?
I think you're trying to save your dwarvish friends, and I admire your loyalty to them. But it does not dissuade me from my course. You started this, Mithrandir. You will forgive me if I finish it. Are the archers in position?
Yes, my lord.
Give the order. If anything moves on that mountain, kill it. The dwarves are out of time.
My character is going to kick ass. He's a legendary fighter. He's bad. He's like a weapon. My sword is cool, so I think we've got some fun stuff planned for the battle.
My lord, dispatch this force to Ravenhill. The dwarves are about to be overrun. Thorin must be warned.
By all means, warn him. I have spent enough elvish blood in defense of this accursed land. No more.
Fandriel!
He doesn't care about the people of Lake Town. He just wants his diamonds. He doesn't care about the dwarves. He doesn't care about his own army that will potentially fight and die for what he wants. He's gonna fight for them to get them.
It's really exciting because I started being able to picture the Battle of the Five Armies at the end of the film, and I started picturing what is the essence of this character, and her essence is she is a fighter. That is what she does. That is who she is, and that would be her just epitomized, in the center of a field full of goblins and orcs and just slaughtering them.
One of the things that was interesting for me about Legolas being a part of The Hobbit was obviously he's theoretically in that world, and with my father being there and us being in Mirkwood, it was, fascinating for me to get to go back and in a way get to create a backstory for Legolas, for the Legolas that you see traveling through the Fellowship of the Ring and through the trilogy of The Lord of the Rings. It was kind of this amazing opportunity, and it was, I think in the third film it's kind of my story is nicely brought to a close as a character that would go on, that would leave the Elven realm, that would leave the Mirkwood realm to go into the Fellowship of the Ring.
Look around you! Have you not had your fill of death? Winter is upon us. We must look to our own, to the sick and the helpless. Those who can stand, tend to the wounded, and those who have strength left, follow me. We must salvage what we can.
Well then, what do we do then?
We find shelter.
That's what's so admirable about Bard, is that he never loses sight of his agenda. It's never for himself, it's for his people, and mainly it's for his family. He just wants to save his family, and I think that never changes. It never diminishes in his character. It's his family first, and then his people. Yeah, he's quite a man, really. He's quite a character.
Azog is trying to cut us off.
All of you! All back to Dale! Now!
I mean, film 3, I'm actually enjoying the the process of film 3 more than anything. I think it's the best of the 3, honestly, and I was getting my mojo as a director because we were shooting them in order, and kind of like this is the sort of when I was rolling along, and so I'm proud of a lot of the things I was doing as a director.
I always feel that no one knows, and no one who's going to make a film knows this world better than Peter does, you know. We always felt in very good hands as far as that was concerned, like safe hands.
You've just got all of these very, very different characters with very different objectives in this complicated scene. And then Dane shows up with his army, you know, and then the orcs, it's just like all of these different, and they're not only written with different objectives, he directs us very differently.
He's able to, not only with Galadriel, but with all the characters, weave those subtle connections between the suite of films, which I think is really beautiful.
I feel very privileged to have a great friendship with Pete. I respect him so much as a director, and I really enjoy the process of working with him.
Everybody is so dedicated and devoted to the whole concept of these stories, and above all, of course, to Peter Jackson, because I don't know if any other director could have done this. I suppose they could have done, but that's not the point. He did them.
I'm very much wanting it to be 6 movies that ultimately, you know, become a story, a grand story that you can see from beginning to end.
These 6 films have been enjoyed all over the world by people of all ages, and that they are classics, and that a whole new generation of cinema goers will be able to see them at home and hopefully still on the big screen.
It will be a real event movie, but I just think going back to Middle-earth, probably for the last time on the big screen, is going to be a huge thrill.
It's just an epic odyssey. That's really what The Hobbit is. It's a small man deciding to leave a very comfortable life in order to throw everything in the air on the chance of adventure, and it's about him getting home again.
Fate.
Will you follow me? One last time.
Let me tell you about you. I want to make you rich.
You see the palm trees? They tell you anything's possible.